Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm going to be talking about some movies, obviously, because that's what I always do. I'm a top secret agent from Area 51, and I'm talking about movies. Yes sirree. What, it's a hobby of mine. So, I'm going to upload this on my second channel. Not that I have much of a choice currently right now. But I want to make more content for my second channel anyway, so it's whatever, I guess. So, I guess to be specific, I want to talk about people complaining about a certain franchise. And this certain franchise is now owned by Disney. If you catch the drift by now, I'm talking about Star Wars. I guess to be more specific is that it's not necessarily Star Wars I'm complaining about, it's just certain people reacting towards the fact that Disney owns the rights to Star Wars now. I guess to be more specific here. And the fact that lots of people seem to be saying that the social justice warriors, yep, I'm bringing them up again, the social justice warriors ruined Star Wars. Well, let's have to say that, first of all, they did, okay? The social justice warriors did not ruin Star Wars. And I also know that on top of that, just so you know, I personally don't like the social justice warriors. I thought these certain group of people, the social justice warriors, are annoying. Mainly because of the fact that they claim that they want diversity. They want everybody to get along. They want everybody to study different cultures. In reality, they're only looking for themselves. So personally speaking, I don't like the social justice warriors, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't like him. And again, I'm going to be some people thinking that I might be close-minded because I supposedly don't accept other people from other cultures. And that's the thing, I don't mind. I don't mind if you're tall, short, skinny, or whatever. Personally, I don't care. You can be brown, you can be white, you can be whatever. I don't care, okay? As far as I'm concerned, you're still a human being, alright? Gay, straight, whatever. I'm just wanting to throw that out there. But even then, I still don't like these social justice warriors. I still don't. But anyway, a lot of people saying that the Disney is forcing diversity among the community who will watch these films. But that's bogus, okay? Because it's the toxic fan base that's ruining Star Wars. Disney's not ruining it. The toxic fan base is ruining Star Wars. If you ask me, that's ruining Star Wars, alright? And I'm not the hugest fan of Star Wars, to be blunt with you. But that's the thing, I've seen all the films, I've seen all the Star Wars films, all 9 movies. Well, 10 if you count the shitty animated movie, which I didn't like. I mean, Star Wars did make some bad movies. Don't get me wrong. They did make some bad movies. Don't get me wrong. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was awful. And then they made Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, which was pretty bad. And they made the one animated movie that was supposed to take place between Episode 2 and Episode 3, and that animated movie was bad. Then they made a Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which received better reviews compared to the other films, but I still thought Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was still a bad movie. And after George Lucas had directed Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, he stated that he was not going to longer make any Star Wars films, because in his mind, if you count the prequel trilogy and the original Star Wars trilogy, which I thought was much better, that's just 6 movies. Well, 7 if you count the animated movie. After that, he felt he was not going to do anymore. He was done with Star Wars. He apparently was done with Star Wars, because the thing is, he would later admit it. He had other storylines for his franchise later on. So that made me feel he was just lying all this time. So anyway, I just want to talk about the Disney Star Wars films. Obviously, the first entry, their first entry of the series is Star Wars The Force Awakens, which I did a special edition of. This film got a sequel titled Star Wars The Last Jedi. And then, yeah, they're planning to do like a trilogy of their own. This is the first two installments of that trilogy they plan to make. And then they made a Rogue One. This is supposed to take place quite some time prior to these films. To be more exact, it's supposed to take place right before A New Hope. A New Hope is supposed to be the first entry of the original Star Wars trilogy. So this one's sort of supposed to take place sometime prior. And of course, the Disney films, they also provided another Star Wars film called Star Wars Han Solo, which is a solo film for him when he was much younger. And that's the fourth Disney film they made, and it's supposed to take place a little bit before these films, like sometime prior to that. So, anyway, what I was saying a moment ago is that they say that the social justice warriors ruined Star Wars, mainly because of the fact that there's a female lead in The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, and of course in Rogue One in Rogue One. All these three films right here has a female lead. They felt that feminism has a part of the demise of Star Wars, which is ridiculous, because if anybody's paying attention to these films, it would be that the original trilogy had a female lead, Princess Leia. If anybody, of all the characters in the original film series, Princess Leia did more than everybody else. And that's whole diversity thing that ruined Star Wars. Again, it's in the original trilogy. You have Princess Leia teaming up with Luke Skywalker. You know, Princess Leia, she's like really high there and up in society. Where Luke Skywalker, he's kind of like not all the way up there. Luke Skywalker was basically your farm boy, whom desires to want more of a life. So Princess Leia is like way up here, and while Luke Skywalker is like somewhere down here, down below. So that's two different classes of societies right there. Then there's the other character, Han Solo. Han Solo is he's basically your smuggler, so to speak. So he's also somewhere like around the lower ranks of society, so to speak. And he also teams up with Princess Leia. So we got this trio here, so to speak. I mean, of course, there's also Ben Kenobi. Ben Kenobi also belongs in another, like, he has his own living going on. He has his own thing going on as well. So all these four characters, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Ben Kenobi, all these four characters, they have their own thing going on in their own lives. They have their own thing going on in society, so to speak. So, again, they're all from different places, from different parts of the land, and they unite to fight against the Empire. Which, of course, has something to do with, the Vader, the Emperor, and all that. And that's the thing. It already had diversity. And I'm gonna bring up the Han Solo film, because a lot of people felt that, yeah, even with the Han Solo film, even though it has a male lead, a lot of people felt that even that film is foreseen diversity, which it isn't. Even with that film, just like the three Disney films I just brought up a moment ago, they felt that Rogue One is foreseen feminism, which is not. The Star Wars film, Star Wars The Force Awakens, is foreseen feminism. Again, it's not. They also felt that The Last Jedi is foreseen feminism, which, again, it's not. Even with Han Solo, like I said a moment ago, the Han Solo movie is foreseen feminism, which, again, it is not. Because they felt that not get too spoily here. I don't want to spoil anything. for anyone that hasn't seen the movie as of yet, the Han Solo film does have a female droid. And this one scene in the film I actually thought was kind of was pretty funny, if you ask me. When one of the crew members when they went on this adventure, one of the crew members had asked the female robot that, okay, what else would you like? And she replies by saying to that question, like, equal rights. What, that was intended as a joke, of course. But, I mean, that joke does have a somewhat of a payoff later on in the film. I'm not going to say what it is, but it does have a somewhat of a payoff, later on. But actually, that's pretty funny, because I thought that was pretty funny, because that female android robot thing, she was being sassy. And Star Wars is known for having sassy characters. Even Rey from Force Awakens and Last Jedi she's pretty sassy in her own little way. And so is the woman in Rogue One. And in the original Star Wars trilogy, had Princess Leia, who was pretty sassy her own self. So again, it's continuing this little trend that we're doing. Even in the stupid Star Wars prequels, it had some sassy characters. I mean, failed at it, but they attempted it. But my point is that these people only get they're only saying that social justice warriors ruined Star Wars just because Disney owns it. That's all it really is when you think about it. And if you ask me, that's pretty stupid. And they say that Disney ruined their childhood, which of course is ridiculous when you think about it, because these films are still here. First of all, they're still around, and second of all, your childhood it's been gone. Your childhood has been gone. Okay, it makes no sense. And all you're doing, a lot of these toxic fanboys and fangirls, they're trying to stick to the nostalgia. And if you ask me, nostalgia's bullshit anyway. You're just having fond memories of the past, and you would just want Disney to continue it, which, if you ask me, is ridiculous. Because if Disney continued the films exactly like they were, note for note, it's gonna become stale. It's gonna become boring. So, in other words, if you ask me, are you gonna do just shooting yourself in the foot? If the Star Wars films owned by Disney were exactly like the old film, it's just gonna become boring. I mean, I'm not saying to change everything completely. I'm not saying to change it completely. Do keep it in the spirit of Star Wars, okay? Just keep it in the spirit of Star Wars, but at the same time, go into other territory. And those are Star Wars lore, which means those books, comics, video games, so on and so forth. And there's plenty of material that Disney could easily adapt into a film, which they have been doing because of the fact that their Disney films have been somewhat based upon the source material that Lucas has already made like eons ago. But the one film that's like the most so far, that's the most faithful to their source material was the Han Solo movie. The Han Solo movie was more exact like how the source material was. I mean, these new films kind of were, but they took some liberties. But anyway, another thing that I heard that another forced thing they complain about is the fact that in the Han Solo film, a lot of people were actually offended by that film, mainly because of the fact that one of the characters from the crew in the Solo film I mentioned a moment ago, it's actually an African American character. A lot of people took offense to the fact that they didn't like the fact that there was an African American character in the film, which, if you like me, that's racist. And because it seems awfully hypocritical anyway. It seems really, really hypocritical because Black Panther was praised for having an on all African cast, and a lot of people seem to say that it's really diverse. Which, if you ask me, that's bullshit because, you know, just because a film, I mean, don't get me wrong, just because a film has diversity doesn't mean it's good. I mean, this is not a bad movie, really, folks, but I would say that a slight correction towards the reaction to this film is that it's not diversity if everybody's from the same country, is what I'm saying. But my point is that, how is that you can praise this film for having an African cast, but then turn around when Star Wars does something similar, you get annoyed? That doesn't make any sense. And if anybody has been paying attention, which I don't think they were, in the third installment of the original Star Wars trilogy, guess what? They had an African American character in the third installment of Star Wars. I didn't hear nobody complain about that then. I didn't hear nobody complain about when they did it. So that makes no sense. And when it comes to, yeah, a lot of people seem to really despise the fact that, here we go. Yeah, they really seem to despise the fact that The Last Jedi has a female lead. Which, of course, the female lead in this one is Rey. I mean, we have the other characters like Princess Leia. Princess Leia does play an important part in this film. But, that's the thing, Rey takes most of the screen time. A lot of people complain that they don't like how she was the main focus. They really seem to be complaining about the fact that she was the main character in this film. Yep. They don't seem to like that at all, which I thought was bullshit if you ask me, because it makes no sense. They keep saying that she's a Mary Sue, that she does everything perfectly all the time, which is a lot. The character of Rey, she's not a perfect character. She's not. And then on top of that, again, it goes into the whole hypocriticalness of the whole entire thing I was talking about. Wonder Woman was praised for having a female lead. If anything, they said this was one of the best films of the year, just because of the fact that there's a woman as a lead character, which if you ask me is ridiculous. If you ask me, because just because a woman's a main character doesn't mean the movie's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, Wonder Woman's not a bad movie. I mean, I enjoyed it, folks. I mean, I got on Blu-ray for crying out loud. I'm just saying that it's biased. It's really, really biased. You have to praise this film for having a female lead, but when Star Wars does it, all of a sudden it's a bad thing. I mean, again, it makes no sense. And this whole diversity thing that we're talking about, again, it's ridiculous. Case in point, the Mass Effect Andromeda has some diverse characters. Nobody seemed to be complaining about that, you know, which I did a playthrough a while back, by the way, folks. Not this version, but this game, Mass Effect Andromeda, has some diverse characters, and no one seemed to complain, really. And then, even the game, Dragon Age Inquisition has some diverse characters, but I mean, there's some people complain about it. I mean, people did complain about it. It's not that big of a deal according to some people, but some people did complain about the fact of Sarah. A lot of people, you know, the character Sarah, the elf character in this game, a lot of people didn't like the fact that she was into women, which just sounds homophobic if you ask me. But a lot of people seem to complain about the fact that she's into women, and apparently, this game was whitewashing, which it wasn't. Just because Sarah's character, she has fair skin. That's stupid. Just because a character has fair skin doesn't mean she's Caucasian. I mean, from Canada, there's characters from France, there's some characters from England, so on and so forth. And I was bringing it up too because, you know, this game was supposedly whitewashing, which it wasn't. Which of course is stupid if you ask me. That's racist towards white people. Give me a break here. And they also will complain about this. I'm bringing that up because of the fact that they also complained that this film was supposedly whitewashing, which this movie wasn't. And it's just ridiculous if you ask me, folks. And guess before I end this video, I know this video has been going on for quite a while, but I guess before I end it, the Tinkerbell movie, I don't have all the Tinkerbell movies yet, but I have quite a few of them here. And that's the thing, the Tinkerbell works in a community filled with a bunch of fairies from different communities, and they all work in a community. It doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter if you're Asian, it doesn't matter if you're this or that. All the fairies work together. So this has a diverse kind of thing going on. Nobody complained about that. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't hear no one complain about that shit. So I mean, again, it makes no sense. Again, having another movie called Brave. Merida, she's Scottish. Nobody seemed to be complaining about that. If anything, this film was actually praised for having a Scottish lead. But then when Star Wars wanted to have some diversity, everybody starts complaining. And then we have movies like Frozen as well. And Frozen as well had I mean, these characters, Elsa and Anna, they're technically Norwegian, but also this film had some controversy because this movie, just like with the Last Jedi, and just like with Dragon Age Inquisition. These things have that one thing in common, because apparently Frozen was whitewashing, which it wasn't, because this film, Frozen, the characters are Norwegian. They're from Norway. Just because they're from Norway, just because they're Norwegian, does not make them white. And if they were white, so what? I personally don't care, really, because as long as this film is good, I'll watch it. And then the Lilo and Stitch movies have a Hawaiian thing going on. Even my other favorite film is Moana. Yeah, these movies has a Hawaiian thing going on, and they were praised for it. That's some sort of diverse thing in a way. Didn't really hear people complain about that. And this whole diverse thing, it's been going on since the original Star Wars trilogy, if you ask me. But it really doesn't make any sense, folks. It's really stupid. And again, if anything, I think it's the fanboys, the fangirls, the toxic fan base that's really getting on Star Wars. And from what I heard is that it's really affecting on the future of Star Wars. So if anything, they might have ruined Star Wars themselves. The toxic fanboys might have ruined Star Wars themselves, because some of the directors had admitted that they might be a little frightened on going into different directions with these films. So they may want to play it safe and keep it exactly like the old movies, which I hope they don't, because I mean, don't get me wrong, the original trilogy, they're great movies, okay? Don't get me wrong. The original trilogy is a great movie. These films are great movies, okay? I don't mind the original trilogy. I quite enjoy the original trilogy. I might not be the biggest Star Wars fan, which I'm not, but I did enjoy the original Star Wars trilogy. They're great movies. They're great. But that's the thing, I kind of felt that the Star Wars fans, in a lot of ways, are stuck in the past. I feel like a lot of these Star Wars fans are stuck in the past. And so, if anything, they might have actually shot themselves in the foot, because some of the directors may not want to expand the universe in different directions. So if anything, if they do play too safe, I'm like, hello, you ruined Star Wars. The toxic fanboys ruined Star Wars, not Disney itself. You're just complaining that this corporate Disney is doing something, which is stupid. It's also really stupid, because that's another thing. There's another thing they seem to bring up, corporate ruined Star Wars, or corporate ruined Star Wars. Corporate ruined Star Wars. It did not. Corporate did not ruin Star Wars. When you think about it, making movies is a business, okay? News flash, it's a business, okay? Making movies is a business, alright? And when you think about it, this is a little trend that George Lucas had made. And again, newsflash, the George Lucas hadn't made a company called LucasArts. LucasArts, this film business, is also corporate. Corporate has always been making Star Wars films. It was since day one. Duh. So again, they're already going back to the whole idea that, oh, Disney ruined Star Wars. It didn't, okay? The toxic fanboys and fangirls ruined Star Wars. It was putting me like an odd position because, again, I'm not a huge fan of these films, but yet I'm defending it. No, this video has gone long enough, folks. So, like I said, I was going to save it for my next Disney-a-thon, but I don't know when I'm going to do that, really. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Take care. See ya. Until next time. Oh, yeah.